Okay, you're simply not going to believe this. Well, you might. Paddywhacking and mick-taking of being on first-name terms with the Irish other. It's hard to believe, but I had to figure this out. Paddy and Mick, the two quintessential Irish first names, have given rise to numerous words and expressions in the English language. As such, they are fine examples of antonomasia, A-N-T-O-N-O-M-A-S-I-A, antonomasia. But the extent and nature of their reuse set them apart within this stylistic figure. Indeed, Irish names have been targeted much more often than names denoting individuals from comparable minority cultures. This is a crazy thing. Comparable minority cultures. Over many generations in Britain and America, notably, these two first names were liberally coined to designate and denigrate the hapless or strategic other, whatever that means. Negative racial stereotyping. Oh, okay. I think we all know what that means. Slave is a derivative of Slavic, like Yugoslavia. Hello? Okay. They were the first slaves. Well, I mean, maybe not, but anyway, probably not the first, but they weren't even the first. No. Okay, that's not true at all. I told you this is crazy and you're not going to believe it, because some of it is not true, like what I just said. But anyway, hope you're keeping up. Notable, okay. Where was I? Other negative racial stereotyping, inspired principally by British colonial discourse. Those haughty Brits. And American Republican ideal. What does that have to do with it? Oh, Trump. He had an Irish name. They changed it to Trump. It was probably Trumpolumpicus, or who knows, O'Flanagan, or whatever, you know. I don't know I can't remember what it was. I read an article about it one time. His grandpa changed the name so that they wouldn't be discriminated against by Jewish people that had money, that they wanted to hire them to build their garages, but they didn't want to hire friggin' Mick. Get out. I mean, you know, go figure. Right? Okay. Principally by British colonial discourse and American Republican idealism, constituted the main driving force, but anti-Irish prejudice was successfully exported to other English-speaking countries as well. Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. All of the major Irish heterostereotypes, have been inscribed into these lexicon names. This paper traces the othering of Paddy and Mick. Guess what Paddy is short for? I didn't know. You'll be maybe amazed and humorously exonerated. Oh, what I tell you, it's down here in the article. What's Mick? Michael, right? Probably. This paper traces the othering of Paddy and Mick through their numerous linguistic modulations and examines the particular reasons for such consistent onomastic abuse. Paddy, the diminutive form of Patrick. Where's the, oh, okay, there it is. Trying to figure out where I had to stare to get, okay, never mind. Patrick is today the most common nickname for an Irishman at home and abroad. The name word has fairly ousted the old favorite Teague or Tag, variants of tag, from this place of, how about Took? Okay, never mind. And left in shade former hopefuls such as Larry and Barney. Those are Irish names, okay. St. Laramie, whatever. St. Patrick, the titular saint of Ireland, after whom generations of Irishmen were named, a real person, I might add, has inspired as a Christian too, onomastic legacy. Today, the only rival to Paddy is the sobriquet Mick from Michael. I was right, Mikhail, a name which has also received wide representation. Ireland's, I have to check the time. Okay, 5 minutes. Ireland's colonial history and generations of Irish migrants provide the basis for explaining these coinages. Beyond their native shore and in stereotypical fashion, Irishmen were identified with the very names they bore. Had it not been for these factors, Paddy and Mick would certainly have lived monotonous lives at home, like all other first names, simply identifying individuals. Instead, they have been charged semantically and made to designate cultural types, stereotyping. They are fine, as names turned words, they are fine examples of antonomasia, a form of synecdoche, what? Synecdoche. Synecdoche involving the use of a proper noun to express an idea. The linguistic adventure experienced by these two names is most interesting for several reasons. Paddy and Mick are clearly in a league of their own. They have been targeted significantly more than first names denoting nationals of comparable cultures, notably the Scots and the Welsh. Moreover, they have undergone sustained and diverse linguistic reuse. Paddy and Mick, and variants thereof, have not only come to designate the typical Irishman, but also through the formation of compounds and genesis of popular expressions, they have been associated with perceived national traits. There's that prejudice and stuff, assumption. As such, they are prime cultural markers. In the colonial context of Anglo-Irish relations, that'd be English and Irish, and in the context of American Republican idealism, whatever that means, these associate manifest destiny, I'm not sure. The Irishman has been perceived as the reviled other, the Irishman, as a substandard foreigner or immigrant on whom to apportion blame. It's the friggin' Irish. Tally-ho! Yeah. You haughty Brit? Yes. I've got both in my blood. I could have an argument with myself, take either side, As long as I remember what I'm doing, it's okay. You don't want to get too far into character and can't find your way out, Where was I? Let's see. On whom to apportion blame. Typical reproaches center around notions of intemperance, aggressiveness, and deviousness. So all the bad traits. And it's not meekness, teachability, grace, endurance, love, patience, kindness, thoughtfulness, self-control. It's the opposite of, you see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you got a bad spirit because your lips are brown. What? No, I just ate a chocolate ice cream, man. Oh, golly. Come on. Indeed, it was politic for the English colonizer and American Puritans, Indians, I'm not sure what that means, to outsource perceived human defects and social ills from somebody to blame, a scapegoat. Paddy and Mick are also a particular interest from a linguistic and stylistic point of view. The two most typical Irish first names have been reused in a manner that far exceeds the scope of conventional antonomasia. Not only common nouns, but also verbs, adjectives, and adverbs have been formed. Prefixes and suffixes have sometimes been adjoined to achieve conceptual variation. Proper nouns have thus found themselves wisely lexicalized and oftentimes embedded in popular speech patterns. Naturally, all these elements are interlinked. Cultural and linguistic factors have, over the generations, played off each other. It is the nature of these links and their modulations in time and space that I would like to examine in this paper, says the writer. I'm not the writer of this paper. The title of this paper, Of Being on First Name Terms with the Irish Other, encapsulates the core issue in two basic ways. The expression being on first name terms habitually presumes intimacy and friendship. The use of first names to relate to others conveys a sense of equality and ease. Moreover, familiarity and endearment prevail when the diminutive forms of first names are employed. In the context of the cultural other, however, here perceived as being Irish, the tone is naturally strained. The use of first names, and particularly the hypocristic forms, hypocritical? Hypocristic, okay. To designate the foreigner or immigrant gives rise to condescension and belittlement rather than endearment. And I might include encouragement. I added a word to his paper. I hope you don't mind. Individuals thus addressed are considered as infants or juveniles lacking the maturity of their benefactors and superiors. They have no grandiloquence. Evocation of their typical first names thus creates unnatural familiarity, which inevitably breeds contempt. Can y'all fathom that? Can y'all picture that, if not feature it? Creates unnatural familiarity. Oh, yeah, we all know the insert country name here. We all know the Sudanese. Yeah. Yeah, that's typical. Anyone that comes from Portugal would think that. You know. Oh, you're from Western Idaho? Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the United States, okay? No. What? What do you even mean? From New York or New Calabasso? Huh? The title, fortuitously perhaps, but all the more interestingly, throws up the unlikely first name terms. A name, be it a first name or surname, is not a simple term. The purpose of a name, strictly speaking, is to identify individuals and to differentiate them from each other. Are you talking to you or to him? I'm talking to me. Oh, wait, what? Okay, I'm playing. Here we go. That's the whole purpose of this. Can't say. It's classified. You'll have to check the lineage of the, what do we call it, the notes. Well, they've all been redacted. It's nothing but a bunch of black marks across words. You won't understand anything because there's this. I'm gonna have trouble with you. I can tell that right now. No? Okay, good. Thanks. Glad. Peace. I don't need no trouble. I need no trouble. Wait. Never mind. Okay, let's get back to the paper. Let's go back here. Wait, we are, okay. The title, this is 9. The title 9. The title, fortuitously, perhaps, unfortunately, perhaps, but all the more interestingly, throws up the unlikely first name terms. A name, be it a first name or a surname, is not a simple term. The purpose of a name, strictly speaking, is to identify individuals and to differentiate them from each other, whereas the role of term, typically a common noun, is to give meaning. A name, stricto sensu, I believe that has to be Latin, has a referential function and not a semantic one. Names turned words, thus, constitute a particular linguistic and cultural case. Patty and Mick, as first names that have acquired general meaning, have seen their linguistic role radically changed. As common nouns, they are accompanied by determiners, usually the or a, and lose their initial capital. The general meaning conferred on these terms also involves value change. While amelioration, I've heard of unameliorated, with this is while melioration, so this is the addition of melio, is sometimes possible, pejoration is the order of the day. Irish names that have been made to designate the quintessential other typically denigrate. So it's used as a dig. You're dissing them. Denigrate means disrespect. For the purposes of this paper, a broad acceptation of the other will be adopted. The names turn words that will be quoted cover a broad geographical spectrum and equally broad timescale. The geographical spectrum encompasses not only Britain and America, but also Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. While the timescale stretches from the mid-18th century to late 20th century, or we're in the 21st century, so this is from the last century. As the cultural context of these countries naturally differ, and as each culture has evolved over time, a strictly homogeneous view of the Irish other as reflected in the English language cannot be portrayed. Okay. All right. However, it will be seen that major common denominators are apparent. This paper purports to study linguistically consecrated Irish names transversally, guided by central themes rather than by geographical or historical parameters. The names turn words vary also in linguistic register. While some of the terms belong to standard English, most belong to popular parlance, notably to slang, and sometimes to rhyming slang, hip-hop, rapping. Naturally, the mechanics of designating the other are not the same when rhyming slang is involved and when the other is more tactically designated. So, Ebonics has reared his head. We're touching on all bases now. Moreover, some of these names turn words are eponyms. Never heard of that. And as such, their stigmatization, I know what that is, may basically or partly be justifiable stigmatism. Okay. I didn't think I'd be saying that today. As a final preliminary remark, doesn't that contradict itself? Final preliminary remark. And the last thing I'll say in introducing, oh my goodness. It should be observed, I almost can't see through the tears of my eyes. It should be observed that the notion of the other in itself is highly complex. Even in its most fundamental theoretical expression, that of the colonizer's condemning view of the colonized. Oh my goodness, okay, we've seen that before. So, yeah, you want to put them under your feet, you got to step on their ego. Oh, with your mouth. Okay, I see that. But what if you're not justified in doing that by God? Then it's wrong. Then it's a sin. Okay. Colonizers' condemning view of the colonized, subtle variation may be seen. Modern approaches have brought to light significant instability in traditional binary models. The notion of the absolute other, born of a strict Manichean opposite, that's a guy, somebody. I'm sure he's got a postulation of whatever that means. His whole theory of philosophy, probably, between colonizer and colonized has in recent years given way to a more fragmented, unstable, ambivalent, and sometimes even contradictory view of the extraneous party. Now that's what I'm tackling. This is particularly the case in the context of the Anglo-English dyad. That dyad is D-Y-A-D. Indeed, a certain type of ambivalence seems to have characterized England's outlook on Ireland. Ireland is Britain's nearest and most recalcitrant dominion. Yeah, you heard of the IRA, right? Posed a particular intellectual as well as political challenge. Geographical proximity and racial propinquity, bunch of words I've never heard of in this article, meant paradoxically that the Irish were perceived as being singularly awkward subjects. Unruly, hard to club over the head, huh? Yeah, they fought back. The Irish were members of an inferior race, yet white. What? Why? It's a family thing. Roman Catholic Papists, yet fellow Christians. This ambivalent characterization has perhaps best been expressed by the term proximate other, quote unquote. The Irishman, in the eyes of the colonial Englishman, was a curious mixture of sameness and difference. And you know what the French say, vive la difference. Oh well. Okay, I truly hope that was edifying and, you know, interesting, and I hope you learned something. So, you know, it's basically about Patty and Mick. My next treatise will be on, you know, dominoes. It'll be on dominoes. The white dominoes with black spots, or black dominoes with... Wait a minute, that's a piece of Swiss cheese. Well, I'm definitely not... That's good. Now, I recommend Swiss cheese blintzes, or, you know, raspberry jelly-filled donuts with coffee. So I hope this has been edifying, essential, and not unfunny. But it's a study of a treatise on papers, reading papers and trying to understand them, and, you know, learning Old English and other stuff. God bless you all in Jesus Christ's name. Plead the blood for protection. Anoint with oil over your houses and your families and all your stuff. And a wall of fire surrounding you, protecting you from heaven. Like the fire that Elijah called. And ask angels, like Psalm 91, ask God, my Father in heaven, please forgive me. I forgive all. Let angels encamp over top, bottom, to the side, to the front, to the back, to surround me with protection and protect me from the evil in this time. God bless you all. I love you.